Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Thank You for Your Reply, the spinoff of Thank You for Your Reply, PropTech Pioneers. And today we're talking to a pioneer by the name of Anibal Piccioni. He's the founder and CEO of Fantastic Calculator, used for construction remodeling, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Streamline construction feasibility projects.
Okay. Yeah. So thanks for joining us. What was the gap in construction development that motivated you to develop Fantastic Calculator, and how did your background in construction shape your approach?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure to be invited to your podcast. So to start with, it all started from my own frustration. Basically, I spent over 20 years working on the real estate construction industry. Let's say the second decade, I was an estimator. I was behind the computer, like looking numbers across different projects in different regions. And I realized there's a huge disconnect early on in the projects, even before drones get developed. So, for example, at teams, they were asked these big questions early on with such a little clarity. Like, for example, how much is going to cost this project? Isn't even feasible? Can we tweak this, or can we actually build it in a different region? And the reality is there wasn't a tool that allows you to answer these questions fast and accurately without diving into like weeks back and forth between architects, general contractors, and the investor. So that's where I came up with this idea. What if we build a app that allows you to move quite seamlessly throughout the pre-construction process, powered by uh, geolocation, climate condition, and design standards tied to real-time data. And so there is a huge opportunity to streamline, automate up to 80% of the equation early on in the projects, and to help teams to elaborate and to move faster with efficiency. My background for sure framed and shaped the entire development of Fantastic Calculator as an estimator, experienced these pain points, and the actual algorithm that we are utilizing in our backend is something that I developed early on as an estimator. So it's being designed based on real basis of estimating, and hopefully is being transferred to the actual pain points of the industry via technology and innovation. So yeah.
Okay. How did you start? So you're completely in 20 years in construction experience. How did you go about developing the app? And you just had the idea for it, and then
No, that's a total process. So I started early on with so many different ideas. First, I wanted to create an automation only for bathroom renovations. I want to be able to kind of capture the entire process of renovating a bathroom or a specific space and create a productized approach. Like, for example, you don't design a shoe from scratch. You go to a store and you buy your shoe and then you carry on, right? So I wanted to design for bathrooms or for a specific space within a volume, in this case, single family homes. And I started like learning about technology innovation. I went to MIT in 2018 for natural language process, which is what we see now as a ChatGPT. But early on, like 6, 7 years ago, it was kind of a new development within AI. But I was super excited about what technology could bring to the current process of estimating, and most importantly, from feasibility, which is basically when you have an idea, you have a vision, you want to be able to quantify that vision without drawings or without injecting resources into general contractors or architects. Now, how do you do that? How can you actually design a volume that has no drawings around it or no layouts around it? So I started connecting with different background people, educating me about engineering and framework. I started learning about Figma. So all the designs that you see nowadays on Fantastic Calculator are designs that I developed with Figma. And it's been an amazing journey for me, like not only for on the professional side of things, but also like how do you grow as a person and all the things that you have to endure in your ups and downs. So yeah, no, it's been a process, like a real process. Good moments, bad moments, moments in the middle. You want to quit someday and you want to celebrate the next one. There is an amazing quote from Elon Musk. I don't know if it's from him, but he said something like, "You're eating glass when you're building a company," and that is exactly how I feel. Like mostly of my days, like if I eat like a small piece of glass, it's like an ice cream nowadays. I get used to like endure this type of like kind of a friction between what you want and what's given to you in that specific moment. But yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I can imagine because I've had some ideas for various, even just like a platform or for a laptop or even or like an online platform or an app, but just the process of starting to figure out how to build it, and it's like yeah.
Yeah, no, it's something that I realized that you can think and dream so much about something, but until you get to work on it and put some paper and pencil on it, it's very, very challenging to really like
Mhm,
frame it like properly. Like I think
mhm,
working really, really hard is, for me at least, the easiest process to achieve
mhm,
whatever I'm kind of imagining or visioning.
mhm.
Other than that, it lives in my head for months.
Well, congrats to getting it out of your head and in
So I appreciate it.
into our world. Could you uh, share a specific case study where Fantastic Calculator sort of transformed the traditional construction estimation process, and
Yeah,
like how did it save time and improve accuracy?
I have a couple of case studies. The first one is we were working with a company based in California. They wanted to cost out, price out 5 different home prototypes across 3 different cities. And so this is an effort that will take you at least a few weeks of consultants, lots of spreadsheets, and Zoom meetings. Through Fantastic Calculator, they were able to generate a comprehensive feasibility report with detailed cost breakdown, cost per square footage, CO2 impact within, I think, about an hour. So that was really huge. But the wild part of this is that when we finally got the numbers from the general contractor, we were within 3 to 5% of accuracy with no drawings. We don't use drawings. We are like before drawings. And so we were just kind of super excited about the fact that it is possible to forecast accurately and super, super fast projects with climate condition, geolocation, and design standards tied to real time data. That's kind of powerful for us. Yeah, that was a very, very like, consolidated moment for us. Like, how quickly can we elaborate or leverage our platform to allow the builder not only to save time, but also to move with confidence across the projects. And in the near future, they will be able to like move toward more complex developments.
And then can you? So I don't do construction or development. So what what do you do with what can someone do with Fantastic Calculator?
Yeah, that's an amazing question. The idea when I started Fantasy Calculator, I want to be able to help small and medium builders, residential builders, including operators that develop their own volumes and slash like architects, design and build companies. One of the biggest challenges that or pain points that we find during feasibility, which is the preliminary stage of the project, is how much it's going to cost that, whatever that is. And how, I mean, I'm going to be able to afford it. Like you buy your piece of land and then you want to build a 3,000 square foot house with 3 bathrooms and 3 bedrooms, a large kitchen and a beautiful patio with a swimming pool. How can you quantify that vision? Like usually what happens is you find these general contractors that's going to tell you that's going to be around $350 per square foot based on my experience and based on the houses that I've done in the past 2 years. But there are so many different things that are going to be impacting that number, like market fluctuation, your programming inside the house, the materials that you want to use for the house and the facade, your MEP systems, your outdoor features. So there are multiple things that can impact that $350 per square foot that general condition that the general contractor just told you. So this is a tool that we built with the goal to be used across different target markets. For example, a builder or a developer can use this tool to forecast ROI. Like what's going to be my return of investment if I put these 3 houses in that lot. For an architect, that can actually be, it can become something pretty strategic to sell the product quite easily and accurately. I'm going to design this house tied to these materials with this scope of work, and this is tied to cost. Now you can actually value engineer the project, which is like you can create different construction ideas in real time. this type of house versus this second type of house or this third type of house. And then you compare the price based on different materials. And ultimately, I think the homeowner at some point will have the capability to also drive the conversation by utilizing this tool. You can play with this tool as a homeowner and start like understanding different material performance, different designs, different CO2 impact, which is carbon impact, and then some packages that we have designed for energy efficiency. I think that will allow you to really, really dive into your material designs and cost impact, like in a way that's super simple to digest. Not only, I mean, one of the challenges that I faced is like you need to be an experienced estimator to come up with a feasibility budget on day one without drawings. My goal is to allow you to just go through this process and generate a super comprehensive report without being super educated in the construction universe. That's the whole kind of a point of building fantastic calculator.
And so someone would put like upload a plot map, like the overhead shot of a plot of land or the room schematic or something like that, and say, hey, I want.
You don't even need that because you wouldn't
Oh,
have that early on. You
oh
may
yeah.
have a piece of land, right? You may know what's the other size, like 10,000 square foot for your lot. And then you may have an idea of your size house, your dream size house. Yeah, one house around 3,500 square foot. That's all you need to know. And then how many bedrooms do you want? Perhaps five. How many bathrooms? Four. And then I'm going to allow you to plug in a couple of like additional rooms, for example, foyer or climbing indoors rooms or saunas and stuff like that. But it's very simple to navigate. You don't need drawings, you don't need the schematics, you don't need maps, you don't need absolutely anything. It's just being standardized based on the location that you have selected at the beginning of the process and the tier for the materials that you have selected. All this stuff is super modifiable. You can edit absolutely everything. Later on, if you have drawings, we can achieve a more accurate report. But what we have realized is that regardless of the stage of your pre-com process, from day one, we're going to carry 3 to 5% of accuracy if you don't modify the design intent across the construction life cycle.
Okay. And then, so what is the output? Like after they put in those things, you click submit, then it outputs a report of the estimates for building it and all that.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool because it allows you to go from high level data, like how much it's going to cost your house, area of the house, square footage, I mean, price per square footage, your environmental impact. But then also it allows you to go very granular so you can share that information with your general contractor. Like it's going to go by CSI traits, which is typically how you uh, share these kind of metrics with general contractors and engineers in a way that's very organized and detailed. It's like if you had a like do it the quantity takeoff from real drawings and put it into a format that allows you to speak towards that project.
Mhm.
So you can share high level numbers, but also you can open up a very specific and granular detail cost breakdown with all the components, their details, the quantities, their dollar values tied to the specific house price.
Okay. Cool. So I could start developing houses tomorrow
Do you
or
know what?
properties
That's
tomorrow.
an amazing. So the more we develop this tool, we realize that there are companies that are starting their journey early on and they don't necessarily know how to estimate projects. So they're using Fantastic Calculator to leverage that process. And so it's been amazing to see companies right now, like startups in construction, like small developers, to utilize Fantastic Calculator not only to estimate projects, but also to market their approach through technology early on in the stage. And so, yeah, in theory, you should be able to start pricing some houses if you want to.
Okay. And does it work? Is it just US based or does it,
For now,
is
it's
it,
just based across the country. And we're not across the country. We have a couple of states that we have like partners in the construction industry where we can kind of collaborate and share data. But the idea is to be across the United States and then start scaling to Europe and hopefully Asia.
which states is it in right now?
We have Florida, California, New York, Washington, um, Texas. That's it for now.
No,
No Oregon for now.
okay.
Well, happy to add it for you.
Yeah, that's where my house is, and my wife owns some properties over there as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But she actually has a property in Washington, so I'm gonna have to talk to her and be like, "Hey,
Absolutely.
a
Anytime.
piece of land." So, how does Fantastic Calculator enhance the relationship between developers, contractors, and estimators rather than replacing human expertise in construction planning?
Yeah, yeah. That's an amazing question. Like, I think there's a huge misconception in the industry, or at least in tech industry, about you launch your software, now you're gonna replace people. But the reality is, like, our goal is the opposite. Our goal is to enhance teams to perform more efficiently across the entire construction life cycle. Yeah, so what Fantastic Calculator does really, really well is to streamline these things that usually bring like friction in the process. Like, for example, at the beginning of the project, you don't have a really clarified scope of work. So how can you have an accurate budget? So it also helps like eliminating the last time surprises. And so what we are aiming for is to, instead of having the developer and the contractor spending time and effort just fighting over numbers, like discussing over numbers, we want to be able to provide the same language for them so they can collaborate and move forward with clarity and transparency across the project. For the estimator, we see Fantastic Calculator helping them early on in the project so they can layer in their expertise to move forward really quickly through the pre-con process, not the opposite. We're not here to replace the estimator. Actually, I think we need the estimator to enhance and to kind of continue providing feedback for us so we can continue growing and evolving. But yeah, ultimately, we want to kind of design this tool to recreate some sort of like language, common language across the stakeholders so they can move with transparency uh, along the project. Yeah, it's the contrary. We want them, we need them to be part of the.
So, Fantastic Calculator is sort of just or it can be like initial part of the development process, and then you would have a a licensed or highly experienced estimator come in and
Correct.
verify or do their version later or
So Fantastic Calculator first will allow you to understand if that project is feasible based on your
oh,
resources. Like, hey, I have X amount of money. This is going to cost me X amount of money. Okay, I think I can make it. That's the first kind of a step. It allows you to understand or forecasting costs before injecting resources into designers and architects. Once Fantastic Calculator generates the report, because the report is so granular and it's so in order to build a house, you have so sort of something that we call programming, which is all the different items that are going to be within that house. Core and shell, the foundations, the structural frame, the roofing, all the stuff has to be pretty well defined, right? And then you have quantities. That's basically what quantifies that scope of work. And then you have the cost tied to the quantity, tied to the scope of work.
Mhm.
We are generating that in a report. So once we have that pretty well consolidated, we pass that on into the designer and estimator. Now the designer can develop the drawings based on this programming. What's really cool about that is that they're designing towards a budget. So if you don't modify design throughout that process, you're going to be within 3 to 5% of error in that specific budget. Then you share that layout or drawing to the estimator, and the estimator recreates and start requesting bids from subcontractors in a way that's super transparent, seamlessly done, like pretty well, like organized.
okay. So people would potentially be they'd be saving money doing it this way because they're
In theory, we are shifting the workflow towards you usually start with an idea, hire the architect. The architect develops that idea of you in a paper, in a drawing, and then you share that drawing with the GC. So the GC put together the number, the estimate.
Mhm.
So what happens when the estimate is like 30, 40% higher? You gotta go back to the architect, revise that layout, that idea,
Yeah.
and send it back to the GC. But that process can happen 10 times. we are hopefully alleviating that pain point by setting up the preliminary stage with a super comprehensive programming tied to cost that allows the architect to design towards that budget.
Okay,
So
that makes
that
sense.
way, the only thing that you have to do is just follow the steps that we have kind of provided.
Bit of a roadmap, sort of.
Hopefully, yes, that's the idea. So, yeah, common ground.
Interesting. So then looking at this area, the intersection of construction, tech, and AI, what emerging trends do you see reshaping the feasibility analysis landscape? And
Yeah,
I think
so
it sounds like Fantastic Calculator might be part of the things that is reshaping that landscape.
I think AI is just growing so fast, and the impact that is generating not only in construction, but I think actually it's been quite slow in construction. However, it's still impacting tremendously the outcome. But definitely, I see a huge trend in pattern recognition. Like, for example, you want to be able through AI to understand the building types, how the building types can impact cost in certain ways, and how design standards can lead to long-term leads, like how long it's going to take the materials to arrive to your site conditions. You can start mitigating those risks by utilizing AI, which is amazing. And now imagine that tied to real-time costs based on market fluctuation, which is huge due to whatever's been happening in the past 3 or 4 years with the the supply chain. So I think material recognition, cost automation, and market fluctuation tied into one really solid algorithm can help tremendously to move forward accurately. We are kind of injecting nowadays AI in different scenarios. So we're playing with natural language process to actually allow you as a user to search for different pricing materials across your or nearby your region so you can compare different scenarios. But the way I see AI is just the impact that we'll have in the next 2, 3 years in construction is going to be radical. It's going to be quite fantastic, I think. I wouldn't be that concerned about what the impact of AI in construction is. I think it's very exciting.
Hmm.
The opposite. Yeah.
Um, and okay, but before I let you go, I noticed on your LinkedIn that you're working on another facet of, I think, Fantastic Calculator, the fluid build. Do you want to
Yes,
talk a
yes.
little bit about that?
Super excited about Fluid Bill. Fluid Bill was born about 7 years ago. We didn't see the technology at the time to be as evolved as we needed it. Now, again, with AI, we have an opportunity to do really cool things in a simple way, kind of organic way for everyone. So Fluid Bill, it's our remodeling tool. It's designed for architects, realtors, and homeowners. And the idea is that it's very simple. Like you take a picture of your existing space, bathroom or kitchen. With AI, we capture the infrastructure, which basically is the area and a couple of parameters. Based on that, we're going to provide you with a set of different designs, or you can actually upload your design element, whatever you like the most. You can upload it. We're going to capture materials, area, and right away we're going to give you price. And then what happens, like if you're satisfied with that design and price, we connect you with the right contractor, so you can build the house or the space really quickly. We are testing the product. We have a huge focus group that's been helping us to kind of refine the edges of the technology. But I think it could be really cool to launch it within the next 3 to 4 months.
Cool. And it's a beta version right now?
Version right now, we only have bathrooms. So far, so good. It's being like pretty solid in terms of like image recognition and material definition. Yeah, super excited.
Okay, great. So I also want to do a little shout out for, just to reiterate, anyone that wants to try out Fantastic Calculator, if you're in the business of building homes or developing a property, then the states that it's available in is Florida, California, Washington, New York, and Texas. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
So if you're watching this and you're in one of those states, go check it out. But before long, nationwide. Cool. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming joining us today, and
Absolutely. Such a pleasure.
we will keep an eye on Fantastic Calculator.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.